somebody wants to kidnap me, all they need to do is just buy me food.
No, don't say those kind of things on camera. Maybe someone will try that.
Here we are on another episode of Two Peas in a Pod. I'm Anusha.
And I'm Reeve.
And today is a really special day. Like sometimes when I sit and think about the number of things we women do, we are people who've been raised by strong women. Won't you agree?
That's true.
Right?
That's
Grandmom, mom, they're like highly educated women who broke so many barriers back in the day. To an extent where mom couldn't find somebody to marry her because she was so overeducated. Do you remember that? How
Yeah,
that story?
I do
She will
remember
never
that
let
story.
it go.
Yeah.
You know, because they had to find
They
a bond.
stopped her from, pursuing MBBS
Yes,
because they thought that she.
Yeah,
she
because she
wouldn't
wrote
do MBBS.
IAS exam and then she had these degrees behind her name, which was more than her initials, and she got married at what? 30? When
30.
She was born in 1958. So we were raised by strong women, and I think we also innately have that. The way we've been brought up by our grandmoms or our mom, and how our aunts were doctors, and some of them were into poetry and some of them were into literature, and think about that and how we are right now. I think we do the bare minimum, don't you think so?
That's true, because I
Right?
feel like they all have set the bar so high.
high.
And I don't want to immediately jump into introducing our
Exactly,
guest, but I can't
exactly.
help but, just beam about what a spectrum of a human she is.
100%. I'm with you on that, because being a mom and taking care of myself and taking care of stuff at home and work and be this podcast, some days I'm just like, oh my God, today I'm not going to do my studio time. I'm not going to do my art, or maybe I'm going to give up my tennis. But here we have a really special guest from whom I draw my inspiration, from whom we talk about.
We talk
right?
about, we are
All the
constantly in
time.
awe of, we
Oh,
are constantly
exactly.
admiring her for who she is, what she does, and everything she says.
Yeah.
And even if we tried catching up with all of it, we couldn't get
You
enough.
can never put her in a box. We have with us a really esteemed guest, Dr. Thamizhachi Thangapandian, who is actually, yes,
Yay!
we have her. But before that, I need to give her an intro that everybody knows. I'm sure all of them know about all your achievements. But for me, I was like, Auntie, honestly, எப்படி ஒருத்தங்க இவ்வளோத்தையும் பண்ண முடியும், like in the short span of time, right? Like you've got your bachelor's degree in English, then you went on to get your master's, your MPhil, your doctorate. I
Maybe
literally
you need to read it off the list, because
exactly.
it will be hard to memorize.
Thank you.
Auntie.
Thank you very much.
Like
So
your-
sweet of you.
Exactly. Like you have written it down. Like I've written your scholarly work. I've actually cut it off. Like scholarly work, academic contribution, author of 29 books. Like I don't even know where to begin. Like
So
to write
kind of
one
you.
book.
I think it all started in school and college with being the first rank and first class student with distinction you
Absolutely.
passed in college.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Being an educator,
Yeah.
a playwright. You've been a part of plays with some of the esteemed poets like Bharatiyar and Inqilab and all of them. And then you were given the best politician award. Now that is a blanket statement. She is always known as this amazing woman politician in Delhi. She was given the Tamil Nadu Best MP Award in 2019-2024, and that I can only
Thank you.
imagine
Thank you,
what
dear.
kind of work it took to stand out in a place like that. And then in 2023, Parliamentarians Group for Children Award. I am at loss for words. My hands are going chill. How did you achieve all of this? I want to know what drove you to achieve, be spearheading the Valimai Thamizhachi project, where you established skill development for centers for youth employability, and all your, author of
The list is
29
endless.
books.
The
I
list
am
is
done.
endless. We're going to put a tab on our video with everything that you have done, because nobody
you.
can cover it even if they possibly try to. That's how monumental your achievements have been, Auntie, really. I'm wondering if you and I have the same 24 hours. Do we?
Oh my goodness, look at these young, energetic, extraordinarily inspirational young women who have invited me for this wonderful tete-a-tete, I would say. All these things which you had proudly shared, I'm also equally proud and happy about it. But everything has begun in a small dot in a village in one corner of southern Tamil Nadu. And the most privileged probably part of it was both my parents were teachers.
Yes.
And they were really progressive in their thoughts.
Right.
And there was an atmosphere which provided me the opportunities to grow up with being introduced to the Tamil Dravidian movement, so grounded in Tamil classics, at the same time given an exposure to world politics as well as world literature. So everything has begun from there, I would say, as you had introduced something about the strong women, especially about your Amma. So the same way, my mother began her career as an elementary school teacher, and she worked even when her husband had reached the pinnacle of his career in politics.
So basically, auntie, you cannot put, I feel like you cannot be put in a box. You're always breaking glass ceilings with that bio or whatever that you've achieved. And like I said, konja neratthukku munnadi, I don't know how you do most of the things that you do. Like 1 minute you're in Delhi protesting on the streets for the rights of the people, connecting people in policy, and the next minute, like how you are a vision right now. Like you cannot, or a politician on the box la poda mudiyadhu.
True.
Like you cannot,
Absolutely.
you have
breaking all kinds of stereotypes, I think,
yes.
right?
So where does that, and with your education, everything, can I say that all of it comes from your upbringing? How your mom and dad,
course.
yes.
Amma should be the most important seed who has sown this rebellious spirit, I would say. Wow. Because parents, both of them, they were teachers, but theirs was a love marriage, imagine, at that time.
Okay, that's another new information.
Information, yes. And my mother was always a career-oriented woman.
Right.
And she never compromised. She comes from an agrarian family, so she was into cultivation also, taking care of that, and then having a career as a school elementary teacher and attending to all the needs of the kids, and also instilling them a sense of our literature and culture.
Yes.
The music, dance, all these things comes from Amma. Of course, Appa, the reading, the progressive thinking, introduction to Periyarism and Dravidian movement, all these things I have got from Appa. But Amma is the thing who has introduced the soulful arts into me.
Right.
And always she insisted that, of course, I did love your father and I am loving him, but I love myself in the first place. I grew up looking at her, you know, like going to that school in one village, neatly dressed with a single rose and a lovely umbrella which matches her sari, which matches. So that's it. And also my village also, I told you, I come from a village which is Mallanginuru. நிறைய பேர் அங்கே இருக்கிறவங்கெல்லாம் உழைக்கின்ற ஒரு women தான். And some of them were single mothers who had to take care of the family in spite of, like hardships. But most of them are very positive.
Right.
I grew up looking at them without any huge complaints. You can see them toiling in the fields throughout the day till the evening, and come evening during the sunset when it's setting down, they have a nice dip in the kamai. With all the, like with all the, you call now the mud bath. Now you know that. They do that, and then they sport a lovely sari and then drying out their hair, walking along. And when I come from my fields, I can see that the moment, like they enter their house, when I come back, they will sit in the porch or in the steps with lovely hot food boiling and enjoying it. So that was a scenario I grew up. So the daytime, they have had their own hardships. But still they enjoy life, whatever life had to offer. At the same time, not missing any of the sensory pleasures. That's the word, like we women, this taboo in Tamil society is that you're not supposed to talk loud about it. Your whatever your desires or your pleasures or your choices, you have to be very, very, very careful about it. But I have grown up with such women who are very loud and very clear about their choices in life, enjoying a meal, taking care of themselves, and in teasing or chatting, I mean, whatever it is. So that is how it is. So a mom on one side with all these, like firm principles and then discipline coming out with aesthetics. That's the word that I carry. Aesthetics is the word I would say.
You embody it.
Thank
really
you.
embody it. Even then, like I always feel when you're a personality, you should have a personal style to yourself. That's who you are. That it's not about how you want to be perceived. It's how you are putting yourself out there. How you are perceiving yourself true to your values and your philosophy. aunties, no better person than you. But here I have to tell everyone, as much as Sumati auntie keeps talking about her amma, I think I had the pleasure of meeting her when I got married. Before meeting auntie and becoming close to her, I met only amma first, and what a beautiful singer. Her voice will move mountains. Like I remember every time
New Year party.
New Year party, any function, veetla endha function nalundalo, auntie will be there and she'll be there and she will sing this Kaatinile Varum Geetham. Oh my God.
Know, yes,
like
I
get goosebumps and in that, and the Thopula and the farm and the Tenamar, it's not a very modernized farm. And the Kalatla Epdi Irkumo and the Kair Katla, you will feel that prickle on your back of your neck. And her voice will echo underneath those mountains.
I can visualize it.
Yeah,
yes,
like
absolutely.
in the evening, she'll just be sitting there and she was this கொஞ்சமா ஏதோ ஒன்று வீட்டில் பண்ணால் கூட
எடுத்துட்டு வருவாங்க
கேரியரில் கட்டி எடுத்துட்டு ஏப்பா மருமக வந்திருக்குன்னு அப்போ when they introduced me, I was so stumped by her. I wish I could have known so much about her so that I would have, at that time I was a young child and I was just at home like watching it. Now the kind of exposure you have, I would have loved to know
such people, get to know more about them.
Yes, and how she raised you with, and you embody all of that, auntie. It's amazing.
That's so
it's
lovely.
Just amazing.
You have the best parts of her probably with.
And her dad, like, I think it takes a different kind of parent to come up to a girl child and say, we are not striving to be an equal. You have your own speciality, your power, that's a woman. And then I am going to teach you to embody all of that. It takes a different kind of fatherly figure to say that. I think you've got the best of both worlds.
Together. That's the right way to put
it. And you embody it so well. And I am so excited for our listeners, for how deeply rooted and global you are, and we have prepared a bunch of questions which we want to, like, we can't wait to hear.
So let me first ask, before we jump into the questions that we prepared. First, I was just telling Anusha when we were discussing about you, I clearly remember the first time I saw you or I met you. I think it was when I had come to Madurai for Anusha's wedding, and we were all waiting in the lobby. I think after the reception, me with my parents, we were waiting in the lobby, and you were also in the lobby waiting for your car. I think Pandian Hotel.
Pandian Hotel. Yes,
Pandian Hotel, and I saw you, and you were such a vision. I had to ask my mama, I was in school back then, but you were so beautiful, and the energy, you know, you had such an effervescent energy, and even back then, the way you spoke, you came and interacted with us, and the way you spoke and the way you looked, it was just like an aura by itself.
How vividly that was etched in her memory. I know. I really appreciate that.
I remember you had like purple bangles and a purple bindi.
Oh my,
and this is not her vision. This is you. Like,
if you're saying this is
madri, like etched in her memory.
And I'm sure I'm speaking for all of us when I say that's the kind of first impression and lasting memory you leave with anybody who meets you, who has the honor of meeting you. So I have so many things that I am in awe of you, but starting from your name, what a beautiful name, and you've grown true to your name, Thamizhachi. Can you tell us a little bit about how it came to be?
Tamil பொண்ணு, தமிழ் பேசுகின்ற, தமிழை நேசிக்கின்ற, தமிழை தாய்மொழியாக வச்சிருக்கிற ஒரு பொண்ணுங்கிற ஒரு அடையாளம். அதுதான், that's what I just wanted. So when I started writing my poems and when I wanted to bring it as a collection, first collection, I was just thinking a pseudonym for that.
Okay.
So this was the name that struck into me at that time. ஒரு தமிழ் பொண்ணு, ஒரு கிராமம் சார்ந்த, as you said, who has a very deep rootedness in her land, culture and literature. At the same time, you know, like open and liberal to go and explore the world. அப்படிதான் தமிழ் பெண்கள் இருந்திருக்கிறாங்க. சங்க காலத்துல 49 கவிஞர்கள் இருந்திருக்கிறாங்க. I'm talking about 1st century BC.
Wow.
49 women poets who wrote about everything under the sun, who questioned before the power of kings, who expressed themselves, their innate desires, be it a sexual desire or be it any other, you know, like which now the society thinks a taboo for a woman to speak. Those days, Tamil society was like that. The equivalent opportunity, the equivalent scenario was so prevalent in their works. So I I'm picking up. அதில் பார்க்குறப்போ அங்கே இருக்கிற ஒரு நீண்ட தொடர்ச்சியோட ஒரு சின்ன துகள்னா ஒரு கண்ணினா ஸோ அப்போ அங்கேருந்து எடுக்கிறப்போ அந்த இதுலேருந்து வர்ற ஒரு தமிழ் பொண்ணு அப்படிங்கிறதுல தான் அந்த பேரை சூஸ் பண்ணேன். பட் இட் வாஸ் டாக்டர் கலைஞர், அவர் முத்தமிழறிஞர் கலைஞர், who gave this name properly to me. அதாவது தலைவர் கலைஞரை வந்து அரெஸ்ட் பண்ணி அது எங்களுடைய வாழ்க்கையில் ஒரு ரொம்ப கருப்பு தினம்னு சொல்லலாம். ஒரு 3 தினங்கள் அவர் ஜெயிலில் இருக்கிறப்போ நான் ஒரு கவிதை எழுதுகிறேன். எழுதுகோலை எடு தலைவா. See, because your writing is now the weapon. அப்படின்னு ஒரு கவிதை தலைவருடைய அரெஸ்ட்டை பற்றி ரொம்ப எழுதி அனுப்புகிறேன். அதை முரசொலியில் தலைவர் கலைஞர் வந்து போடுறாரு. அப்போ when I was working as a professor in Queen Mary's College. ஸோ அதுக்காக வந்து சுமத்தின்னு போட வேணாம், தமிழச்சின்னு அந்த இதிலே பப்ளிஷ். ஸோ he was the one who made me, I mean published that name with that name as a poet. தமிழச்சின்னு போட்டு அந்த கவிதை முதல்ல முரசொலியில் வருது. அப்புறம் அப்பாவோட பேரை சேர்த்து தமிழச்சி தங்கப்பாண்டியன்னு. He introduced me in Tirunelveli first youth conference way back in 2007 December. I was given the honor of hoisting the flag. That was also a tradition only in the DMK party, that women were given the opportunities to hoist a flag. That is a statement. Right from Moovalur Ramamridam Ammayar, Satyavani Muthu, Tholiyar Pungodai, மிகப்பெரிய மாநாடுகளில் அது பெண்களுக்கு தான் அந்த வாய்ப்பு கொடுக்கப்பட்டது. ஸோ that is where in that platform he introduced me as Thamizhachi Thangapandian.
Thamizhachi, the alliteration of it. Now parents want to name their children with an alliteration, and then it just so happens
it's so
organically.
natural.
And now that you say it, you hoisted the flag. I want to know, how old were you when that happened, and how did you question yourself? Oh, there are, just before we could start this, the kind of battle I went into with everything. I'm sure women everywhere go through that. But to embody that confidence, to know, okay, I've got this, I'm meant to be doing this, I'm destined for this. How did that journey, how did that happen?
Yeah, I would like to go to Robert Frost, I would say that. Because whenever I have a dilemma in my life, and whenever you are in two crossroads, you have a dichotomy, you know, like these lines, I always remember that. Two roads diverged in a woods, and I chose the one less travelled by, and that has made the difference. So now here is a chance. I've had my own peaceful pace of life, like being a professor, writing poems, and then theatre personality. So that was a sort of a life which I chose, in which life was going in its own way. I am by birth a DMK member, so that's being making a foray into mainstream politics, that's always been there. But when I was given an opportunity like this is entirely resigning your job and then jumping into this arena wherein you have to dedicate yourself totally into it. So அவருடைய இந்த வரிகள் தான் எனக்கு நினைவுக்கு வந்தது. Of course this was 2007, means, you know, like you can calculate 15 years or 20 years ago. You are probably 40, 43. That was still young enough, I would say.
It still is young.
Yes. So these words, so I'm now just going to take a different path because I would like to make a difference. So that is it. And because it was an opportunity given by, he is the, for our family, he is the leader, for our party also. Nobody, we will never ever dare to say a no to him because he knows what is what. But still, you sit and think about, from tomorrow onwards, it's a different life. Frost's poetry only. See, that is where art, literature comes very handy to you. It gives you key answers to you. You sit with those lines or whichever comes to you also, and then be open to the universe, thinking about it. Definitely it will give you some key answers to whatever you try to get it from. So that is where I always turn back to art and literature for that only.
100%. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. It comes
because you yourself is a wonderful painter. This woman, this wonderful lady, I've always admired her passion for reading. The number of books she has read, you know, like at her age, of course, I still doubt whether I had achieved that sort of a thing. But
no
the way
way,
you share whatever the book has offered you, the way you share it,
Yeah.
and the way you express yourself through your paintings.
Yeah.
That's a different Anusha, which I understand and I admire.
Yeah.
So you always look for, like your answers from when you sit, it's like a meditation to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And she's a self-taught artist,
Yes.
Auntie. She
Oh,
never really
wonderful.
learned it.
Yeah.
I think just
COVID brought
it out in me. It was more like you said, that there can nothing more pure and raw like literature and art.
True.
It kind of opens out, peels layers. You get to know a lot about yourself,
What's it?
self-expression and books. I kept myself a target this year, 2025 reading challenge. I want to finish 40 books.
Amazing.
So I am
Amazing.
on my 19th book right
I
now.
think you should do a separate podcast on that.
On books.
On books. That should be your next agenda,
Because
I guess.
feel books are so powerful.
Absolutely.
Like you see so many different characters. They teach you so many things. You learn something from every character. You learn about love, loss, grief, hope. A lot of things.
Makes you travel in all those worlds,
Exactly.
wherein you are not, given the opportunity to undergo in this limited span of yours.
Yeah.
Wherein books provide you the chance
Yeah.
to travel in that magical carpet.
That is
Yes,
true. It's
it leaves
the
a lot
easiest and
to
the
the-
richest way to travel.
Yeah.
100%. Now we're talking about books and words.
Yeah. I have a question.
Please.
Now that it's so beautiful that you actually quoted your favorite lines.
Yeah.
But talking about words, you have written a lot of poems and books, and you have given speeches where you would have had to sit and think about what you want to write and put down pen to paper. So, what made you want to put your words out in the world and believe that words can change worlds? Because I believe in that. But what made you believe in that, and how did it all start?
Because being a woman herself, this world every day throws up a lot of, I wouldn't choose the word pressurizing moments, but this, like the outside world definitely throws a lot of moments or gathering moments, I would say, which would make you sit and think. Sometimes you would like to shout or burst out. Sometimes, because it's always been told that you're not supposed to do this. You are not supposed to sit in a certain way.
Yeah.
You're conditioned so much that you're not supposed to lie down on a certain way in public places. Everywhere it's being taught. At the same time, you grew up studying with the world literature also, all classical minds. Say, for example, George Eliot or whoever it is, all the great, Virginia Woolf. நம்முடைய சங்க கவிதைகள்லையுமே அவ்வளோ ரெவல்யூஷனரி ரிபல்லியஸ் ரைட்டிங்ஸ் படிக்கிறோம். ஸோ அதில் ஒரு இன்ஸ்பிரேஷன் வர்றப்போ நமக்கான ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன், ஒரு புற உலகம் உங்களுக்கு ஒன்று கொடுக்குது, ஒரு அதிர்கின்ற ஒரு கணத்தை. இட் த்ரோஸ் யூ ஒன் பர்டிகுலர் மொமெண்ட் wherein you want to say something, express yourself. When your hands are tight, when you're helpless, what else can you do, or which is the shelter that you can go except the pen?
So beautiful.
That is the one thing that it is. I believe Keats has told, poetry has to descend on you like a mad devil. ஒரு மாய பிசாசை போல கவிதை உன் மேல இறங்கணும். Like, I have to write about this.
Yeah.
It will be killing you, and unless otherwise you put it into paper, you can't just breathe or whatever it is.
Yes.
Once it is out, then you heave a sigh of relief. That's it. So that is how I started writing. Initially poems only. Whatever, affected me from the outside world. And probably now you say journaling, nowadays, that's the word, but that's not actually journaling. That's a bit of a creativity also.
Yeah.
And your writing doesn't actually, when you sit before a white sheet with a pen, you don't decide what you're going to write, neither the technique, nor, the style or the content. The moment decides.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I always remember Keats when he says that, yes, it has to descend like a mad devil.
100%. I'm with you on that. That's how the art that you keep telling me, that the way to express, I think that's how it happened. I was waiting around outside therapy and doctors, and I had a small sketchbook in my hand, and I will just start sketching my feelings because it was so monumental to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anyone how I felt also, and it just came to me. So
it speaks volumes.
Yeah, it speaks. And right now when you told me, once you're done with
yes.
it, it's like, okay, you have done something amazing.
Yes.
Like, you know, I totally understand that feeling. But I want to know if there is one line that you have written that sticks with you, that you go back to, that you always think about, and you're very proud of and solradha vida, okay, this is what I want to remember என்னோட writing-na, this is something which will stick with me. Abdina, is there a couple of lines in your poetry?
Yes. நிறைய இருக்கு. When I sit and think about this universe or the world in a broad term, you know, like, see, I'm just எப்போவுமே பெரிய கோல்ஸ் வச்சுக்கிற பொண்ணு கிடையாது. இப்போ right now I'm a very committed member of the parliament. So next 5 years, what are my goals? Ada one day at a time eppadi deliver பண்றது. In between, how am I going to, you know, like navigate my own academia, my own literary pursuits? That are all the navigating through little spaces. But the main target.
என்ன சொல்றீங்க நீங்க?
Main goal.
Yeah, I got stuck there.
என்னோட
பெரிய goal கிடையாது. Every day, day to day, and then this.
Yeah.
I am so honored to.
Really?
I'm just honored to be sitting
be
here
in the same
yeah.
room
So
as you.
wonderful. That's so sweet of you. I'm humbled.
I didn't know what to say when you said எனக்கு பெரிய கோல்லாம் கிடையாது. I really don't know, auntie. This is amazing.
அந்த மாதிரி தான் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. அப்போ ஒரு ப்ராட் கேன்வாஸில் நீங்கள் எப்படி இருக்கும் லைஃப், இந்த மாதிரி அப்படி இருக்குமா இப்படி இருக்குமா, சம்டைம்ஸ் யூ யூஸ் டு சிட் அண்ட் திங்க். அப்போ நான் எழுதின 2 வரி எனக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். வந்து ரொம்ப டிப்ரெஸ்டு மொமெண்ட்டில் கூட பிசாசு படத்தில் நான் ஒரு பாட்டு எழுதியிருப்பேன், போகும் பாதை தூரம் இல்லை. அதில் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு அலையின் பின் இன்னொரு கடல் உண்டு.
Wow.
I remember that. This is the line which Mishkin அப்படியே எழுதி முடிச்சோடனே வந்து he came and hugged me. இதுக்கு வந்து உலகத்தையே உனக்கு தரலாம் அப்படி சொன்னோடனே
Seriously.
I remember that. Yes. In my most depressed moments, இல்லை ஒரு அன்சர்டனாக வல்னரபிளாக இருக்கிறப்ப எல்லாப்பையும் எழுதின இந்த லைன் வந்து எனக்கு வந்து அது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். வந்து அப்புறம் வந்து நிறைய அப்பாவை பற்றி எழுதியிருக்கிறேன். somebody asked, இப்போ ஜூலை 31st கூட அப்பா இறந்து வந்து 97 31st ஜூலை இருக்கிறார். இப்போ I think 29 years ஆயிடுச்சு. But every time I write a poem on him, about him, the wound is like very raw. நம்ம நினைக்கிறோம் மறந்துட்டோம் இல்லை அப்படி போயிட்டே இருக்கோம். பட் when you sit and write about that, இவ்வளோ விஷயம் இருக்குது அப்பாவோட, எனக்கும் அப்பாவுக்கும் வந்துட்டே இருக்குது, இவ்வளோ விஷயம் இருக்குது வந்துட்டே இருக்குது. இப்போ முதல் ஒரு எழுதினது வந்து நான் அப்பா ஊருக்கு போகிறேன் அப்பா அப்படின்னு. ஒவ்வொரு தடவை ஊருக்கு போகிறப்ப அப்பா வந்து வெயிட் பண்ணுவார். ஹாஸ்டலுக்கு போயிட்டு வருவேன், அங்கே போயிட்டு வருவேன், கல்யாணம் முடிச்சு போயிருக்கேன், டெலிவரி முடிச்சு போகிறப்பெல்லாம் he sees to that, he waits for me. But that was the first time when he waited for me but without his life. So that poem, அந்த ஊருக்கு போயிறேன், இன்னும் ஒரு முறை எனக்காக நீங்கள் காத்திருப்பீங்களா? I just want you to wait for me just only once. அந்த இது வந்து ரொம்ப என்னால் மறக்க முடியாத அப்பாவோட போயம்ஸில் ஒரு கவிதை. சரி, எல்லாம் போயிட்டு ஆஸ் அ ஒரு போயட்டாக ஒரு மெச்சூர்டாக லைஃப் இஸ் லைக் தேட் நிறைய அதுக்கப்புறம் லாஸஸ் பர்சனல் இதெல்லாம் பார்த்த பிறகு ஒரு லைன் எழுதுகிறேன். வந்து நடக்க 2 சிற்றடியும் சுவைக்க ஒரு இலந்தையும், இழந்தனா இழந்தப்பறம் இருந்தால் போதும். 2 சிற்றடி நடக்கிற அளவுக்கு ஒரு ஸ்பேஸு, அப்புறம் உங்களுக்கு சாப்பாட்டுக்கு ஒரே ஒரு இழந்தப்பழம் இருந்தால் போதும். அந்த 2 இருந்தால் போதும் எனக்கு, ஐ கேன் சர்வைவ். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி லைன்ஸை வந்து எழுதி முடிச்சுட்டு படிக்கிறப்போ இட் டேக்ஸ் மீ லைக் டு அ டிஃப்ரெண்ட் world or perspectives or a more matured zen way of settling down and then thinking about life, not through a narrow prism but in a very very broad spectrum.
Right.
So I think we should ask our listeners also to send in a couple of lines that you've read about. Written by her. I can only call her endearingly as Sumadi Auntie, but Dr. Thamizhachi Thangapandian for you guys. Something that you guys have read. Tag us on our post.
What lines stuck with you? Yes. What lines resonated with you? I'm sure you'll have one too many, but pick one or two and tag
She
us.
has written a bunch of beautiful short stories for impatient readers who cannot sit with an entire book. Those are stories that stayed with me. I remember calling you and telling you about them. The little hut.
The birthing hut.
Yeah, the birthing hut. Sorry, really, I'm just nervous around her right now. Like I'm sweating like anything. But yeah, that was the most beautiful. Those short stories stuck with me, and I remember the one about the wedding.
I know, yes.
That stuck with me so much about that Thamizhachi. It's the most. Trust me on this. I did not go back to reading that book again. That was a story that just stuck with me so deep. So something that you guys would have read.
I remember because you gave me the birthing hut and you told me to read it.
I asked her to read
like,
it.
it's
Thank
so beautiful.
you.
Yes,
I know,
it is one of the most beautiful compilation of short stories that can resonate with all of us about our roots, about how we have forgotten so many things in the hustle and bustle of life. I think you guys should write to us with a hashtag or tag us at 2 Peas in a Pod on our Instagram page. We would love to read them. We would love to tag her also, please. So I think that will be a great way to get to know what our roots and where we come from. Not just roots, any poetry, any prose that she has written. That will be great. But I have other questions also from starting from life and how you've done this whole leadership with so much grace. Like you said, as a woman, like it's not easy. Nothing is handed out to us.
Absolutely.
It's as sad as it is. Like we can see interviews, where they say, why are you calling us equal rights? But we do face it in our own time and everything. So, but I want to know, from classrooms to parliament halls, what lessons from life that kept you grounded?
Connecting with people.
Okay.
That's the one tagline I just want to insist, and one tagline which I also want to remember. See, you may be an intellectual, or you may have a lot of degrees behind your name. You may have had the exposure of speaking on all the world reputed platforms. But when you come from a classroom to a political platform, these things definitely add value to whatever you do, and definitely honing your skills will lead to a greater heights. But connecting to people and passionately or sincerely committed to them to an extent, maybe even not 100% if you are not putting it, 20% at least if you are very genuinely inclined to serve them or to commit to them. That is the thing that actually makes you or shape you up as a good politician.
But I think you're doing a 200% on
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
encouraging
really.
and so enriching.
That
so
is the
encouraging.
truth. If I-
See, sometimes I go to sleep with the guilt also. You give not many promises, but to a certain extent a few promises before you get elected, and some you're able to fulfill and some you may not be due to many other reasons, practical reasons or funding or whatever it is. But the guilt, like as a poet, as a responsible parliamentarian also, so most of that's what I always discuss with my team. This team also, it's since a year. Last year we did 5 projects. It's since a year we haven't begun one project. The day before yesterday we had finished one project. So that was the happiest day in my life.
Cute. You look like a little child.
Exactly. So addressing your guilt, like that will definitely make you to go inwards, and then when you come out also, okay, I'll just try to open up other avenues also wherein I can explore many other opportunities. So all these things definitely will add value to your performance and to make you a better politician, no doubt. But connecting to people, have a moment to listen to them.
Yes.
Be, like available for them, just not morning from evening or whatever it is. See, for example, when you go to a function, marriage or whatever it is, just, like have some human connections.
Yes.
That is what means a lot to me. It's not just posing photographs and then handing a bouquet and then coming back. Just have a human connect. That's one thing that I maintained even when I went for my electoral campaigns. Especially there are so many moments to write a poem or a short story. I have mentioned it, like they come and gift me with bangles. That means they have watched me, they love me with flowers, and then we just, like see all the windows. There may be interesting faces just opening up and then seeing with all the curiosity through the curtains.
Yeah.
Before they come down, I would have gone that, like past that. So these moments are all, those moments would stuck with me. And the children, you wave your hands like this for canvassing. They always think that it is Tata for them. So Tata, I don't miss that moment. That's a human moment, connect moment for that also. People might think, look at this woman, in midst of that, avangalum thirumba Tata solranga. I will always say Tata because that is the connecting moment for me with a child. The childக்கு அது வந்து வெறும் டாட்டா தான். அது வந்து ஒரு canvassingோ கையாட்டுறதோ கிடையாது வந்து. So அதே மாதிரி I always made it a point to have eye contact. அப்படி மொத்தமா கூட்டத்தை பார்த்துட்டு நான் பேசிட்டு போறதே கிடையாது வந்து. As many as possible ஒரு eye contact இருக்கணும். அந்த பர்టిక్యులரா womenோட eye என்ன சொல்லுது, என்ன இருக்கு பேச முடியலன்னா கூட. So இதெல்லாம் தான் வந்து ஒரு being ஒரு performing politician or committed இருக்கிறதுக்கான ஒரு major goals ன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். I wouldn't say. Probably major qualifications ன்னு சொல்லலாம். Apart from your academics, apart from இது வந்து ஒரு பேசிக்கா நம்மள define பண்ற. Yes, exactly. The defining qualities I would say.
So Auntie, I have to ask you, you did mention your love for poetry. And I truly believe you don't just write poetry or love poetry or read poetry. When you do all of those things, you naturally become poetry itself in ways big and small. So in that sense, do you think being a poet or writing poems has made you to be a different kind of leader? Has it affected you being a leader or empowered it in a different way?
Of course, it has empowered it more than one way, I would say, because poetry itself, the key word to write a poem is empathy. You need to feel the pain of others. Also, you need to put yourself in the shoes of others, and you need to also travel in an imaginary world to imagine also a bit about the world in which, for example, say I imagine an utopia wherein there's no war also. See, now after Gaza, when you see every painful picture of a child without food, they are malnourished and the city is totally destroyed. I read a journalist who once wrote, the cities were not destroyed, they were just devastated. See, you know the difference between these two. Nobody can destroy it totally. Definitely it will come from its ruin, the spirit of the people. But devastation has taken place massively. So these things make a poet, like to travel to different worlds. And then when I sit and write a poem on them, when I opened up a discussion on Ukraine war in the parliament, I quoted Mahmoud Darwish, the famous Palestinian poet, his words. People will come and talk about war, leaders will come and talk about negotiations, and papers will be signed, but this mother will eternally wait for her son to return. So I opened up with the quote.
Right.
Yeah.
So this can be a powerful statement, a poetry or a two-line can be a powerful statement when I make it in the parliament as a leader or as a policy maker. Right. So definitely it empowers. Also I wrote a poem about Manipur violence also on women. So no gods, no gods or goddesses of this country, listen to them when they were paraded naked. And it is the part of our Indian country. It is inside our map. But how we watch it so helplessly. So I wrote a piece in Indian Express on this with a poem of mine. Right. So this definitely adds more layers and power to whatever speech I deliver or whatever policy I make. I introduced a private member bill on awareness, breast cancer awareness about domestic workers. There's no such bills for them. Right. So all these things, like I connect with people and I write about them. My stories talk about those women are unacknowledged for their hard work they do. So whatever policy decisions or like important speeches I make, poetry comes as a powerful weapon.
Right.
And I think the seed is also rightly sown by the Dravidian movement, by all my leaders who have used art, poetry and literature as their weapon.
Yes.
Right.
Like Peraringer Anna, Tamilaringer Dr. Kalinga, they used all these, like as a weapon to instill a sense of awareness and work towards social justice.
Right, right. That's beautiful. So in that sense, is there any one particular poem that's your favorite or that comes to your mind when you think of leadership and rather leadership with grace? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Always, like Petrol Brecht is a very, he's a poet as well as a theatre person. He has written these two lines I cannot forget because I'm so disturbed by the wars, like so. இருண்ட காலங்கள் வரும்பொழுது கவிஞர்கள் எதை பற்றி எழுதுவார்கள்? இருண்ட காலங்கள் வரும்பொழுது நிச்சயமாக கவிஞர்கள் இருட்டை பற்றி எழுதுவார்கள். இருட்டை பற்றி மட்டுமல்ல வெளிச்சத்தை பற்றியும் எழுதியாக வேண்டும்.
Right.
So these lines have actually struck with me, and it was he who also wrote, it is a long poem but just I'm saying, see, when Alexander conquered the world, don't you think there were also assistants to cook food for him?
Right.
Yeah.
Only Alexander is just remembered in history.
Yeah.
When Pompey was built in a day, not in a day, for years together, don't you think there were masons and construction workers who assisted the king?
Yeah.
Where are those names?
Yeah.
Where are they? It's a long poem, again written by Brecht.
Right.
All those, like unnoticed human beings who had actually contributed much more.
Right.
So an empire or, like a government or whatever it is, there are so many, they also serve who stand and wait.
Yeah.
So these lines, they also serve who stand and wait, and brush lines, and all these lines, like it will always resonate with me.
Right.
When I sit and if I am going to prepare a speech or if I am going to write a very, very profound speech about any policy or whatever it is, like I said, for example, the data privacy bill, which is a more pressing bill.
Yeah.
So what is privacy? What does it actually mean to you? How far you can set boundaries? The right to switch off your mobile phones after office hours.
Yeah.
See, these are all the very important things which parliamentarians, policy makers are now discussing.
Yeah.
So, having a very nuanced, empathetic feeling which you instill through arts, literature, especially poetry, will actually define you as a better leader and helps you a lot when you sit and do make policy decisions.
Right.
That's why I always say that, I come from a village wherein feminism is not introduced to most of the women in a broader term. Most of them wouldn't have even stepped inside the portals of a school.
Yeah.
So I can't just take the Western or the European feminism and just make them as a fit framework, fit for all thing to them.
Yeah.
So I should advocate for a regional feminism.
Yeah.
So that comes from my lived in experiences.
Right.
We have a peculiar problem in India, castes,
Right.
which it's little difficult for the Europeans to understand and then. So when it comes to women liberation, when it comes to women empowerment, you can't just undo the caste. It's just embedded in that. That's the first question you have to address in that.
Yeah.
So I talk about regional feminism. I want to incorporate such things. If I talk about a women reservation bill, I would like to give the inputs from this, from my roots to making even to global policy. This is how my entire route travels.
Yeah. Right.
So a poet in me always
Right.
comes very handy and shapes me, and I would say that is my conscience sticker.
Nice.
Coming to that, I wanted to know, on a very lighter note, How did you feel when you walked into that parliamentary house as an MP elected for the first time? What was that feeling? Coming from a route like that.
Yes.
And you thought about your dad, you thought about your mum, all of them. Tell us a little about that. The first day when you walked in.
It is like my feet was 5 feet, above the ground, I would say. It was so, like that one fleet of moment, I could see myself sitting in a small school in Mallanganare. I was a double promotee. I did my first standard, then to third standard, then to fifth standard.
Wow.
Nowadays, such system doesn't, yes. அது அந்த காலத்தில் நாங்கள் ஒன்னாப்பு ரெண்டாப்பு மூணாப்புன்னு தான் சொல்லுவோம். ஒன்னாப்பையும் மூணாப்பையும் ஒரு கரிசல் காட்டு மல்லாங்கனர் பள்ளிக்கூடத்தில் உட்காந்து கீழே உட்காந்து மண்மெழுகிய தரையில் உட்காந்து சமணங்கால் போட்டு படித்த பொண்ணு. கல்விங்கிற படிக்கட்டு நம்முடைய திராவிட இயக்கம் போட்ட படிக்கட்டில் ஏறி இன்னைக்கு பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கு போகிறோம். அந்த ஒன் ஃப்ளீட் அந்த அவ்வளோ தாட்ஸும் அந்த ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டெப்பில் ஏறப்போ வருது. ஐ ரிமெம்பர் இன் மை டெபியூ ஸ்பீச் ஆல்சோ ஐ மேட் இட் ப்ரவுட் ரிமெம்பரன்ஸ் அபவுட் அப்பா, முக்கியமாக நம்ம தலைவர் கலைஞர்லாம் அவ்வளோ தூரம் நம்ம வரணும் அப்படின்னு எல்லாமே ஒவ்வொரு புத்தக வெளியீடையும் அவர்கிட்ட கொண்டு போய் வாழ்த்து வாங்குறப்ப எல்லாமே he must have visualized. ஸோ அதெல்லாம் அவ்வளோ உண்மையிலே சொல்லப்போனால் கால் தரையில் பாவாத ஒரு சின்ன குழந்தைய போல் குதிச்சு தான் அதுக்குள்ளே போனேன்னு சொல்ல முடியும். அவ்வளோ ஒரு
that was not even in the list of questions I wrote down. When all the stories and everything that you've been telling us, I was wondering how it must have felt for you.
Plus and the constituency is also a very prestigious constituency. All the veteran leaders like Peraringar Anna, respected Murasuli Maran, T.T. Krishnamachari, name anybody who are the who's who in the parliamentary history, they have all contested and won from South Chennai. And people, முதல் 2,82,000 ஓட்டு வித்தியாசத்தில் உங்களை அனுப்புறாங்க. Amazing confidence.
That is like
so அது அவ்வளோ தூரம். Yes.
Look at the names that have been preceding you and that feeling. எனக்கு this is very small. ஒரு ஸ்கூல் எலெக்ஷன்ல வின் பண்ணாலே நமக்கு பேட்ச் போட்டுட்டு நம்ம ஸ்கூல் கல்ச்சரல் செக்ரட்டரி அப்படின்னா, but to think as a nation, as a woman, and the names that have come before you. And I also want to ask you, talking about being a woman, is there a myth that you had to break, like a stereotype when you entered the parliament? Tell us a little about the stereotypes.
Definitely. See, I am the one who always sports or wears bright colors attires in the parliament. No ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம், I sport or I wear, I should say, the champak flowers. செண்பகப்பூ தினமும் வச்சுட்டு போகிற பொண்ணு, எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு பார்லிமெண்ட்டில் பூ வச்சுட்டு போகிற பொண்ணு நானாக தான் இருப்பேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். They call me, some of them fondly, all my senior colleagues and then my friends, they call me a champak lady. So see, I am a village girl who grew up with flowers and glass bangles and the fragrance of it I simply love. Wherever I go, I would love to sport that. So இதெல்லாம் ஒரு சில ஸ்டீரியோடைப்ஸாக இருந்திருக்கும். இது வச்சுட்டு போகக்கூடாது, இல்லை இந்த மாதிரி லைட் ஷேட்ஸில் போகணும், இல்லை இந்த மாதிரி தான் அப்படின்னு இருக்கும். You want to present yourself gracefully in a very dignified way, at the same time with a bit of aesthetics in which you groom yourself. நமக்காக தான் நம்ம இப்படிங்கிறது சொல்லலாம். மஜ்னு கிட்ட கேட்குறாங்க, நம்ம கயஸ் லைலா மஜ்னு கதை தெரியுமில்ல, உலகின் அற்புதமான காதலர்கள் அவங்க 2 பேரும் தான். அப்போ மஜ்னுட்ட கேட்குறாங்க, உலகத்துல அழகான பொண்ணு யார் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. அப்போ மஜ்னு வெறும் லைலான்னு சொல்லலை, அவன் சொல்கிறான் மஜ்னுவோட இன்னொரு பேர் கயஸின் லைலா. நான் பார்க்குற லைலா தான் அழகு. Through my eyes I see. That's வெறுமனே என் காதலி அழகான, நான் பார்க்குற என்னோட காதலி அழகானவர். So the perspective is very very important, very important. So people may see you in a very very different way. Also I've never sacrificed my jhumkas also there. Always, like I wear all little jhumkas also. So இந்த மாதிரி தான் இருக்கணும், வந்த உடனே ஒரு சின்னதாக ஒரு தோடு போட்டுக்கணும், வந்த உடனே நீங்கள் அப்படி இருக்கணும் இப்படி இருக்கணும், ஒரு ஸ்டீரியோ டைப் இருக்குது, ஒரு மித் இருக்குது. அது எல்லாத்தையுமே நான் ரொம்ப என்ன அளவில் that's not a vulgar display of wealth. I'm not sporting any diamonds or gold jewelry. all நம்ம ஒரு artisans அவங்க கைவினை கலைஞர்கள் பண்ற விஷயத்தை எனக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி நான் போட்டு போறேன். So that itself, you know, like as you say, that is breaking the stereotype.
This is what I want our listeners to actually have a takeaway from this episode. Like, so rooted. Every other or 10 நிமிஷத்துக்கு say, I come from my village. I come from here. So proudly to own where you come from. I think that is really important.
I think that's the beauty of it.
That is the whole beauty of it.
You creating or carving that niche out for yourself.
Exactly.
To really own where you
where
come
you are.
from.
Be proud of it. You don't need to fit into a box. You don't need validation. You can break stereotypes. You can be unapologetically yourself.
That's the word.
Yes, and be very authentically yourself. Nobody, and here we are sitting across her who has done it all, been it all, faced all kinds of, I am sure, ups, downs, the in-betweens.
And criticisms, comments.
Yes, exactly. And with that smile and with that, I always call her the sunshine human being. Sunshine form
So
of
sweet,
human being.
so kind
Really,
enough,
that
lovely.
is the truth, auntie. Like, even that Sunday after you came and spent, it was worth it. That and the
energy at home shifted.
Yeah, like,
to be honest, the
Thank
heart
you.
felt
so it feels
happy.
exactly when you unapologetically own yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you come across like this person. And I think that is the takeaway I want for all our listeners from this episode. And also the fact that do you ever miss your being an educator, rubbing shoulders with youth, or is that why your office is full of young people?
Yes,
right.
I do miss see, my teaching days, you know. That is in a way to start your day with all youngsters, with the cheering up, good morning ma'am, good afternoon ma'am, and then you read a lot every day to keep yourself abreast in literature and all these spheres. That makes you always young at heart.
Yes.
So now I take extra efforts, you know, like to study what's happening.
Right.
So there it's part of your life.
Yeah.
So that is always, you always feel that you have, you know, like butterflies. For example, the campus in which I worked, Queen Millis, it's a campus which has one of, I believe, the rarest species of trees in the city.
Wow. Okay.
So there is a Nahalinga tree in front of my English department.
Right.
So I begin my day with that tree. Right. In fact, I've wrote about that tree also.
Right. Wow.
So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நாள் ஆரம்பிக்கிறது students ஓட போறது and culturals, it's a different world. I really miss.
Right.
And having come from a family of teachers, இப்போ எங்க ஊர்லலாம் டீச்சர்ஸ்க்கும் போஸ்ட்மேனுக்கும் தான் ரொம்ப மரியாதை எப்போவுமே வந்து ஏன்னா அவங்க எல்லாமே டீச்சர்ஸை ரொம்ப அவங்க பார்ட் ஆஃப் ஃபேமிலியாக நினைப்பாங்க போஸ்ட்மேனும் அப்படி தான் they consult everything with teachers and you come from a family wherein your parents are teachers and then we teachers we never retire also
Right. Yeah.
we always you know like so அது ரொம்ப மிஸ் பண்ணுறேன் நீங்கள் சொல்கிற மாதிரி அதெல்லாம் ஒரு காம்பன்சேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு இல்லை அந்த யங் நாலேஜை நம்ம இம்பார்ட் பண்ணிக்கணும் you have to keep always get to know the pulse of the young generation. That's why I always have, I'm very particular that I should have the young team in my office.
I've seen that your office people, they are like 25 and you rub shoulders with a lot of you. It's very easy to say somebody of your stature who is in a position to say chinna pasanga ungalku enna theriyum. I have heard that so much back in the days like when, but to how does that feel to rub shoulders with the youth?
You get a lot of brilliant innovative ideas, I would say. நமக்கு தெரியாத ஒரு கோணத்துல இருந்து ஒண்ணு வந்து கொடுப்பாங்க வந்து நீங்க வந்து ஒருத்தர் வந்து you know the social mediaல எவ்வளோ காமெண்ட்ஸ் இப்பெல்லாம் போடுவாங்க ரோடு சரியில்லை அப்படின்னா ஒருத்தர் கீழே வந்து காமெண்ட் போடுவார் மேடம் வந்து லிப்ஸ்டிக்லாம் நல்லா போட்டுட்டு போவாங்க ஆனால் அவங்க ரோடு மட்டும் நல்லா போட தெரியாது See, sometimes when you don't read that, but this is how they look at you now. Very personal அதை எடுத்துட்டு போறது this is different, that's different அந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்கே இல்லாம so it is these youngsters, they will come and tell me that you know like they will say that no the ma'am don't get offended, we all love you for this, the way you carry yourself. There are a lot of people they you know like they adore you, they love you for the way you carry yourself. This is a certain perspective and also this generation, young generation, they are very quick about collecting data. and very very prim and proper the way they present themselves. ஒரு ப்ரொஃபஷ்னலாக ஒரு இதுக்கு போகிறப்ப எப்படி இருக்கணும் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் வந்து நிறைய அவங்களுக்கு இருக்குது. அண்ட் தென் ஒன் திங் இஸ் they express themselves என்ன மாதிரி ஒருத்தவங்ககிட்ட எந்த இன்ஹிபிஷன்ஸும் இல்லைன்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டா நிறைய ஐடியாஸ் வந்து மற்றவங்க எல்லாம் ஒரு 4 feetல இதை சொல்லக்கூடாது அதை பேசக்கூடாது இல்லை பொலிட்டிஷியன் அப்படி இருக்கிறப்போ தீஸ் கைஸ் தே கம் ஃப்ரீலி அண்ட் தென் தே எக்ஸ்பிரஸ் தெம்செல்ஸ். தே நோ ஒரு ஆட்டோவில் போவாங்க அவங்க ஜென்ரேஷனோட பேசுவாங்க இதுதான் ப்ரெஸ்ஸிங் ப்ராப்ளம். லைக் அஸ் ஐ செட் நீங்கள் ஆஃபீஸ் ஹவர்ஸில் 6 o'clock 7 o'clock மேலே கூப்பிடக்கூடாது. தட்ஸ் இன்வேஷன் ஆஃப் ப்ரைவசி. இந்த மாதிரியான நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இன்புட்ஸு ஒப்பீனியன் பீசஸ்க்கு சொல்கிறது எல்லாமே. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ ரீசெண்டாக வந்து த ஆஃபன் ஹேப்பனிங்ஸ் ஆஃப் சூசைட்ஸ் இன் ஸ்கூல்ஸை பற்றி ஒரு ஒப்பீனியன் பீஸ் எழுதினேன். why does it happen in educational institutions? அது எல்லாம் இந்த யங்ஸ்டர்ஸோட அவங்க போகிற ட்ராமா எந்த இடத்துல அதை மிஸ் பண்ணுறோம் இல்லை ஒரு பேரண்ட்ஸாக எங்கே நம்ம கவனிக்காமல் விட்டுருக்கோம். இதுக்கு எல்லாத்துக்குமே association with them and then getting to spend a lot of time with them does really help.
When you are crafting policies for your people, I think na valanda environment is so different from you and from when, and to collectively think of what my kids will be going through, the things that will be pressing them, be it climate change or be it a lot of things, they will be going through a lot. Adu namba vanda, and with the kind of advancement in technology, they are exposed to so many things. Like namba vanda minnala, it's one thing, my friend's mom can also parent me,
I know,
but today you cannot do
you
that.
cannot. Yes, that's
it's one big thing. Like you cannot, like how can they say that to my child? But they are, the narrative itself has changed right now. But adha pannala, but ஒரு YouTube channel கையில கொடுத்து, that's a vast wild forest. You are not watching your child. Your child is being exposed to a lot of things, to understand what those children will go through, and to think that you are this policy maker, a representation who's surrounded by young people who are telling you their problems. Yes, we are facing these things. This might seem so trivial to you, but not for us.
Yes, definitely.
And when you think of a world for tomorrow, I think that is very essential to get on their page. And to think that one policy maker is like that is so refreshing. It's so refreshing, and
it makes you feel like okay, there is somebody who really understands us.
Listen to us.
To break, that's also a stereotype that you're breaking, I feel. So on that note, I want to know, let me read this outright because the yoshi eludradhukku time aachu. What's one myth about gender equality that young people should stop believing in?
Yes, young peopleக்கு வந்து முதல்ல நிறைய இப்போ உடைச்சிட்டாங்க. ரைட் ஃப்ரம் வே ஆஃப் ட்ரெஸ்ஸிங்லேருந்து கெரியர்லேருந்து இது இவங்களுக்கு தான் அவங்களுக்கு தான் அப்படிங்கிறத வந்து நிறைய உடைச்சிட்டாங்க. ரொம்ப நான் முக்கியமாக நான் உடைக்க விரும்புகிறது போத் நம்ம இன் ஆல் தி செக்ஸஸ் நான் உடைக்க விரும்புகிறது என்னென்னா, யூ ஹாவ் டு நோ அபவுட் யுவர் டிசையர்ஸ் அண்ட் சாய்ஸஸ். அது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஏன்னா இப்போ இந்த சமயத்தில் நம்ம LGBTQ பற்றி பேசுகிற இந்த மாதிரி இதில் வந்து இன்க்ளூசிட்டிவிட்டி இருக்குது இல்லைங்களா, அதுவே இப்போ பாலிசியில் கொண்டு வரது. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், வி நெவர் எவர் ஹேட் அ ஜெண்டர் பேஸ்ட் பட்ஜெட் இன்னும் இல்லை, பார்லிமெண்ட்டில் இல்லை. இப்போ இங்கே தான் நம்ம தமிழ்நாட்டில் தான் அதை திருநங்கைகள் அப்படி இப்படின்னு நம்ம இன்க்ளூசிவ் பட்ஜெட் கொண்டு வராங்க, இன்னும் அங்கே இல்லை. ஸோ அப்போ அந்த விஷயப்படி when I was discussing for that, the younger generation are not yet very clear about their choices or coming out about who they are. இன்னும் இது ரொம்ப வெளியே வந்தால் நமக்கு இதாக இருக்குமோ, நம்மளோட சாய்ஸஸ் வெளியே தெரிஞ்சா இட் மே அஃபெக்ட் மை பேரண்ட்ஸ், அந்த மாதிரி இன்னும் அந்த ஏரியாவில் நிறைய மித் இருக்குது. நிறைய உடச்சிட்டு வந்தாச்சு. கெரியரில் வந்துட்டாங்க அவங்க, ட்ரெஸ்ஸிங்கில் ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. அண்ட் தென் தே ஆர் வெரி ஒப்பீனியனேட்டட் அண்ட் ஸ்ட்ராங்லி. பட் திங்க் அபவுட் யூ, உங்களோட தேவை என்ன, நீங்கள் யார் அப்படின்னு ஒரு சுயமாக உணர்ந்து வர்றதுக்கு இன்னும் நிறைய மித்ஸ் இருக்குது. எஸ்பெஷலி இந்த ஏரியாலெல்லாம் இருக்குது. தோஸ் ஹூ ஹவ் நாட் லைக் அனௌன்ஸ்ட் ஓப்பன்லி கம்மிங் அவுட், அந்த மாதிரியான விஷயங்கள் இருக்குது. அதை கொஞ்சம் அதை தான் நான் நிறைய அதை ஃபீல் பண்ணேன். வென் யூ சிட் அண்ட் டாக் அபவுட் அவங்களோட பாயிண்ட்ஸ் எடுக்கிறப்பையோ டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணுறப்பையோ இதில் இன்னும் அவங்களுக்கு இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு தயக்கம் இருக்குது. இந்த இதை ப்ராபப்ளி சர்டன் நம்ம அந்த ஈத்தாஸும் இருக்கலாம். இந்த லாஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப ஃப்ரெண்ட்லி லாஸ் இல்லாத ஒரு சூழல் இருக்கலாம். பட் ஸ்டில் அதுதானே நீங்கள் பிரேக் அவுட் பண்ணிட்டு வர்றதுங்கிறது. வி ஆர் ஆல் தேர் டு ஹெல்ப் யூ, வி ஆர் ஆல் தேர் like to understand you. ஸோ அந்த விஷயத்தில் அவங்க ஒரு பிரேக் பண்ணிட்டு வரணும். தட் இஸ் த ஒன் myth that I want them to understand and then to be very open. ஏன்னா உலகளாவிய அளவில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நிறைய ரைட்டர்ஸ், ஆர்டிஸ்ட் நிறைய பேர் they openly announce themselves who what they are. Because நீங்கள் சாப்பிட்றது நீங்கள் தூங்குறது மாதிரி அதுவும் உங்களோட ஒரு பர்சனல் சாய்ஸ். No one ever has any right to interfere in that. It is your choice. யாராவது உங்களுக்கு கேட்க முடியுமா அது ஏன் பிடிக்குது சாப்பிட்றீங்க இல்லை this is a basic instinct that you feel. So அந்த மித்தை இன்னும் உடைச்சிட்டு வரணுங்கிறது தான். மற்ற எல்லாத்துலேயும் ஓரளவு they have this generation they have achieved.
It's so nice to hear that from you, Auntie, because I feel like not even in our generation or even in like the younger strata of people, there are so many who are still taking their time to wrap their heads around the fact that, hey, you know what, this exists and it's absolutely okay.
Yeah, that is it, yes.
Like, let them be, let it be. I think that concept is yet to be completely accepted even in the younger
younger,
so
yes.
when we're living in times like that, to hear this from you, not just of acceptance, but of, you know, acknowledgement, acceptance and appreciation, saying, hey, you know what, just own your identity.
True.
It's so nice to hear that from you. It's
Thank
so
you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Refreshing.
Thank you.
Refreshing.
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word.
Refreshing. Yeah.
There is like one stereotype on the box.
I think it's the first
on the box
time,
உங்களுக்கு
you know,
set அந்த box
there is
வெள்ள
no box,
போட்டுடலாம்.
there are no boundaries, there's no no perimeter. You're literally, what to say, you're
What you read
effervescent
in books
in
about.
every way.
That's what it is. What you read in books about. You can like that's
but now
how
we're
it is.
seeing it in real.
Yeah,
and
real.
Our listeners are
And
getting
I'm
to
just
see it
like
in
I say,
real.
I don't think I'll ever get enough of saying it. I'm just honored to share the space with you. I'm honored for our listeners to have a lot of takeaway from this. But today,
on that note, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
No, please.
But you know, in today's time and age, if there is one message you would like to tell our young listeners or the youth in general, what would it be? Because I feel like a lot of us want to really change the world. We want to shake up the world, but we just don't know where to begin.
Where to begin, yes.
So how would you guide them, or what would you say to them?
Begin from the grassroots.
Right.
You go to people in their grassroots level. See, for example, if you want to be a politician or to be a policy maker, whatever it is, go to the grassroots of the people, probably the panchayat level or the corporation level or the street level. See, for example, you are doing some NGO sort of activity to make a difference in the educational sphere.
Right.
So you have taken up the right step, I would say.
Right.
That is where you have to take up.
Right.
From that small dot, you can just join up all the dots and it will definitely lead you to the place where you want to achieve.
Right.
So one spot, take that one, pick up that one spot, focus your attention and then commit it to it and then you can make a beginning in that.
Right.
That is when you want to change the world or when you want to live in a better place or you want to leave a better world to the posterity.
Yes.
And the personal advice is that you just love and respect yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
See, the youngsters, I would say, not many, but some of them, in the name of love, they lose their self-respect.
Yes.
That's one thing, you know, like you have to just know that there's a thin line.
Yes.
Love doesn't mean to sacrifice yourself totally. உனக்கு பிடிச்சதெல்லாம் நான் பண்றேன், உனக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி நான் இருக்கேன். See, அந்த மாதிரி இன்னும் சில ஒரு யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ்க்கு சில அந்த இது ஐடியாஸ் இருக்கு. But self-respect is the first thing on which you shouldn't compromise in the name of love.
Right.
So be it otherwise, உங்க பார்ட்னர் உங்களை ரெஸ்பெக்ட் பண்ணி அப்படி ஏத்துக்கிட்டாதான் அடுத்து லவ் வந்து. So அந்த ஒண்ணு, that's a personal thing. I always insist that for all the youngsters that love yourself, self-respect. அப்புறம் நார்மலா உங்களுக்கு உங்க பார்ட்னர் வந்து கூடுதலா லவ் பண்ணுவாரு.
Right.
This girl, you know, like she has her own self-respect, she has her own goals, ideas, and then she dares even இது understand பண்ணீங்கன்னா because you have your own. அது ரைட்டா ராங்காங்கிற விஷயத்துக்கே போவேன். இதில் இருக்கு எனக்கு. அப்பார்ட் ஃப்ரம் தட் ஐ வாண்ட் டு ஜஸ்ட் கிவ் திஸ் லிட்டில் திங் டு சொசைட்டி. ஐ எம் பர்சியூவிங் இட் அண்ட் ஐ வாண்ட் மை செல்ஃப் டு பி ரெஸ்பெக்டட் ஃபார் தட். தெர் இஸ் நோ காம்ப்ரமைஸ் இன் தட். ஸோ இஃப் யூ அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் இட் வெல் அண்ட் குட் and if you want me to compromise in that, let's just say goodbye and then part as friends. That is this is a very personal thing to us. But the other question, begin in whatever spot which is closer to your heart in a very small level, and then you can just take it up to the other level.
Right.
You have been an advocate for sustainability also.
Yes.
Like that is something you embody as well. In the clothes you wear, in the jewelry you wear, it's sustainability screaming out loud and big always. Can you give us one poem for Earth right now? If you had to give like a two-liner.
ரெண்டு வரி. பூமி ஒரு பொழுதும் தான் போர்த்தி இருந்த புல்லை போதும் இது எனக்கு என்று உதிர்த்து விடுவது கிடையாது.
Wow. You just said that. No way. So beautiful. Wow. So beautiful, auntie. So beautiful. நான் அதை எதிர்பார்க்கவே இல்லை.
ஒரு செகண்ட் கூட யோசிக்கவே இல்லை.
ஒரு செகண்ட் I was no
second pause பண்ணல.
Thank you.
That's crazy. So on that note, I want you guys to tag us, tag Dr. Thamizhachi Thangapandian about one sustainable habit that you have picked up to save the earth for us, for you, for all of us, for the future generations. Tag us. We'd like to hear it. We'll give you a shout out because there's nothing more like இன்னொரு தடவை எங்களுக்காக auntie.
பூமி ஒரு பொழுதும் தான் போர்த்தி இருந்த புல்லை போதும் என்று உதிர்த்து விடுவதே கிடையாது.
Oh my God,
this is so beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank you.
On that note, I have a quick fire and then we can like wrap up this whole session. It has been one of the most enlightening. I couldn't have asked for a better few hours with one of the most exuberant human being. உங்களை ஒரு பாக்ஸ்ல போடணும்னா அந்த ஒரு பாக்ஸ் தான். வேற எந்த பாக்ஸுமே கிடையாது, வேற எந்த டேகுமே கிடையாது. உங்களை அப்படிதான் கூப்பிடணும். So yes. So one word truth bombs. A woman can
shake the world totally.
Wow. Nice.
Break the horizons.
Yes. Yes. The future is
open up for the posterity with wonderful dreams. A warless world.
The youth must
break all the barriers. Pursue your dreams, realize your own worth with self-respect.
Amazing. My power is
true commitment to my people and humaneness.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It has been the most
enriching.
Yes.
Really, I've been like this sponge that's just taken up your beautiful aura, everything that you've said.
Thank you, darling.
It's not just wisdom, it's a lot that I'm sure I speak for the both of us when I say we've learnt in ways, more than one, in a million little ways. And it has, and even this wouldn't be enough. We'd be reveling in the aftermath or the afterglow of this encounter. So we're so glad that you agreed to.
So honored. More than anything, I'm so honored to have like spent this few hours with you, being able to, I'm glad there was a space that I created for our listeners, young listeners. There is so much takeaway from this. If my son grows up and listens to this and be like, okay, Amma did something amazing. She inspired me with this other human being. And I'm just grateful that I get to call you not Dr. Mrs. Thamizhachi Thangapandian. You are my Sumadhi auntie.
Always.
I am so grateful for that.
And what about these two young, wonderful, amazing women? I also get a lot of inspiration from these two. That I would also like the listeners to know that. The way they handle their life with the grit, resilience and a bit of aesthetics and arts. And that way, Anusha, I always look up to her for that matter, and I admire this girl for that. And this little thing, Revati also, the way she has expressed herself, she has her own passion for the classic saris, but at the same time reaching out to students at that level, that really impressed me, and a lot, way more to go for both of them. And in our journey, I think we are going hand in hand with each other, getting inspiration from, it's mutual, I would say. I thoroughly enjoyed this tete-a-tete.
It's a sheer honor to just exist here with you. Yes, coexist here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank you.
And that was Two Peas in a Pod with Dr. Mrs. Thamizhachi Thangapandian. I hope, I just like to say her name. It has a beautiful ring to it. And
her name sounds like a poem
by
I
itself.
know.
And the way she's come dressed, wearing her name on her sleeve and proud her identity, her root. I hope you guys had a lot to take away from this episode. We enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it too. See you on our next episode. Thank you.